Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on goal setting and outcome planning. I'm glad to have you with us today. I'm Walter Hill, and what we want to do is pick up just a little bit from where we left off at the leadership conference. And of course, right now, I'm having some difficulty getting my slides up on the screen. So we'll take care of that in just a moment here. Hooray! All right, now you can see everything that you're supposed to see, I hope. Just want to go through a couple of things here real quick. Again, we're going to spend about the next hour talking about goal setting and outcome planning. That's what we really want to do. So I want to, if I can, you know, you'd think that after all this time I could do this. What I want to do is just very quickly have you look at a little quick tutorial here on how to use the program. You'll see this is the control panel, and all of you should be looking at this right now. If you are on the telephone, if you're listening to the audio on the telephone and you wish to ask a question, you must click the telephone button. If you don't and talk in the telephone, it will create all kinds of problems for us with looping sound. So if you are on the telephone only for audio, please click this button. Important thing here is if you wish to ask a question, click the raise your hand button. That way I'll see you and I'll know that you're ready to ask a question, and I can open up your mic. And of course, after you ask your question, you can lower your hand if you want to. You should see the little raised hand button just off to the side of your control panel here, and that will help you get started. Okay, I think that's enough housekeeping kinds of things. Now, as you requested at the Leadership Conference, what we're going to do today is follow up on the goal-setting aspect of our work. Some of you are already working on these issues, and I see this because I'm looking at your division strategic plans, and all of you have some good ideas, and that's great. What we want to discuss today may help you fine-tune some of the things you've already got going, or give you some encouragement to get moving in the right direction if you're not working forward on your strategic plan. I'd encourage all of you to look at the strategic plans that you have and to think in terms not so much of what you're going to do, but what it is that you want to accomplish for your members. Again, the whole purpose of goal setting is not to do a series of discrete tasks. It's to accomplish something that's important to serve your members and to fulfill your mission. It's not just a grocery list. So it's always good to know how the division and our members are better off because of something that we did. Now, several of you at the Leadership Conference came up to me off to the side and said that you had some wonderful discussions in your small groups, but that you didn't take advantage of the worksheet outlines that we provided for you. Didn't have a chance to really explore the whole goal fulfillment process that we hope you'll use with your division boards now that you're back home. Our hope and our expectation for our divisions, for you, is that you and your board will create the goals, the objectives, and the measurable outcomes that really fulfill your mission and serve the AAMFT members in your division. You'll recall that we asked you to develop with your boards of directors a plan for 2 out of the 3 benchmarks that we explored. And those, of course, are member growth, member engagement, and advocating for the profession. Financial stability is sort of the third leg of the stool that keeps everything floating. So membership growth, engagement, and advancing the profession are the 3 areas of success that we would very much encourage you and would like to see goals and plans of action take effect. What we also have suggested is that we would love to hear you report your progress and share with your colleagues your successes in setting and meeting outcomes, and maybe discuss some stumbling blocks that you may have encountered as you are in the goal setting and fulfillment process, so that we can support one another when we get together again at the Leadership Day at the annual conference in Portland, Oregon, and that will be, of course, October the 17th. I'd be more than happy to talk with you individually anytime that you like about your goal setting process, and all of us on staff here would be happy to talk with you when we can. Finally, what we would like to do is when we come together next March for the Leadership Conference here in Virginia, we'd like to have a time to share successes, and we'd really like to see what you're doing and how well that's going. So that's kind of how we plan to do this. Now, as I said to you at annual conference when we were talking about the goal worksheet, the purpose and the outcome of this webinar and of your goal setting is not that you have a properly filled out piece of paper that has all of the widgets in place. What's important is that we get something done for our members that makes the AAMFT and division experience an indispensable part of their lives. That's what it's really all about. So if we can, let's define our terms a little bit. We talked about a goal. A goal, as I said just a moment ago, it's not so much what you do that matters, it's what you accomplish on behalf of your members and of the profession. Your goals are your big picture achievements. For example, under member engagement, we listed a couple of goals, one of which is to we will have fulfilled the division objective to become a vibrant, relevant association that provides a professional home for all MFTs in our division boundaries. Another goal that we suggested as a possibility was that members will receive clear and lasting value for their membership in our division. Goal setting is important if only because it makes you proactive rather than reactive. It gives you something to shoot for and a sense of accomplishment, and it really does become a very valuable way to serve our members and really advance the work of the profession. You know, if you set goals, you're looking to the future with purpose and with some cause, rather than sort of stumbling in the dark from pillar to post and from task to task. You really don't want to be stumbling around. You want to be knowing exactly where you're going and how you're going to get there. You know, to quote Yogi Berra, it's if you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you get there? And that's exactly why we set goals, so we'll know where we're going and when we get there. Objectives are really the larger accomplishments that you need to meet your goal. An objective answers the question, what must we do to accomplish our goals and how will we do it? For example, one of the objectives that we suggested and under the member engagement rubric was to provide peer-to-peer opportunities that create community for MFTs that can be found nowhere else in their professional lives. Another one was to increase membership in division through service to members and other MFTs. So those are the large objectives that we want to accomplish. Thirdly, you come up with your measurable outcomes. And again, if you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. That's just kind of a rule of thumb for getting anything done. Measurable outcomes are the real things that you actually do to achieve your objectives. And of course, the tasks are exactly that. It's who does what by when. And then the budget elements, of course, are a conscious decision as to how much it's going to cost, and are you willing to spend that money on a particular task that meets your outcomes, your objectives, and your goals. Now, one of the ways to kind of look at this is with a story. So let's do a story. We're going to do the Wizard of Oz analogy here. All of us know the story of the Wizard of Oz. Let's strip it down to its essentials. And I'll ask a few questions with some multiple choice answers. And you'll see on your screen our polls. No, you won't. Well, let's just do it this way. What was Dorothy's goal? She's been caught up in a tornado. She finds herself in a strange and a frightening place, the land of Oz. What would her goal be? Well, that goal would be to go home. That's what she wants to do. And to achieve that goal, what objective must she accomplish? Well, she has to find the wizard, since he has the power and the means to make it possible for her to get home. And that way she achieves her goal. So she finds the wizard. What measurable outcomes does she have to accomplish to meet her objective and her goals? Well, she has to meet the wizard face to face with him. She has to secure his help, and she has to discover, procure, and use a means of transportation from Oz back to Kansas. What are the tasks that she has to carry out to get to her outcomes? Well, if you remember the story, she has to follow the yellow brick road to the Emerald City. That's a task. She has to talk to the wizard, actually speak to him face to face and convince him to help. And then thirdly, if you remember how the story, how it ends, you know that one of her tasks is to reevaluate the situation as that's needed and develop workable alternatives to get her desired outcome. If you recall, the balloon got away, so she had to find another way to get home. And she did. So looking at that, looking at her goals, her objectives, what she actually had to do, and how she got it accomplished, I think is important in the goal-setting aspect of this. Most effective goal and outcome planning begins when you ask and answer a series of questions that help you assess the current situation. You want to look at your strengths, and you're going to discover your reasons for being. I've always been an advocate of having some fun and having a stimulating conversation at board meetings. One of the ways to do that is by asking a series of questions that sort of get to the heart of things. Where are you now in terms of what you're doing for your members and your mission? Where do you want to go? And what must you do to get there? Those are the questions that Dorothy had to ask to get home to Kansas, and those are the questions that you have to ask as a division to get things done for your members. Now, as a board, you may find it helpful to start a conversation using the three questions that we talked about at the annual or at the leadership conference. And if you recall, those questions were: what are members getting in return for their membership in the division? What does your division do for members that is unique or that you do better than anyone else? And thirdly, what would members miss if your division did not exist? The value of those questions is not only that they make you confront reality, they help you identify your baseline of operations and assess the value that you're creating for your division members right now. If you ask and answer those questions, you're going to move on to 4 more questions that are going to give you a sense of where you're going to go and how you're going to create value. Who's out there? Who are you trying to serve? What do they really need from the division? That's always a key question, and I would caution you that as board members, what you really need from the division is probably not the same thing as the members in the field need. You're leaders, and you have a set of standards and needs that are somewhat on a different or a little bit higher plane than perhaps the ordinary members out there. So what do they really need from the division? How do you know this? It's okay to sit and speculate, but to get some really hard data is a very important thing too. So ask your members, find out, survey them, talk to them at meetings that you have. Whatever you can do to gather information to help you know and to help you document what members really want from you. And fourthly, what should we as an association of marriage and family therapists do to meet these documented needs? And that's going to give you all the planning kinds of information that you're really going to need. You're going to confront reality, and it's going to help you identify, as I said, your baseline. And it's also really going to help you assess what's realistic for you and what you can actually do that is going to make a difference. And again, it all boils down to making a difference for our members, to create value for them so that the division becomes attractive for new members and becomes valuable for current members so that they're willing and excited about renewing and continuing their relationship with the division. So look at your membership base and your potential members and who's out there. Who are you trying to reach? What do they really need from the division? Again, we just went over some of this. Finally, you're going to ask the vision questions that are going to lead you to some goal setting and an actionable, measurable plan. What is our vision and what the division could be and should be doing in the future? Those are your goals. What could we be doing? What should we be doing? That's how you set your goals. And finally, the second question, how do we get there, is what you find from your objectives, your outcomes, and your tasks. So that's how it all works. We're going to now, if you have a question, if you can raise your hand, we'll be glad to take some of those questions. Well, I think then that we've kind of covered it all, which I'm sure is not true, but we're kind of brief today, and that's okay too. But again, the whole thing about goal setting is not to create a laundry list of things that you're going to do. It's to create outcomes. It's to create value. It's to understand who your members are, what they really need, what's realistic for the division to do, and then to use the worksheet to sort of guide your discussions with your board. Again, I really think your board can have some fun with this, and will do some really creative and valuable kind of work by looking at your goals. So I think that's where we are. Are there questions? I'm fiddling here for a second, folks. Very good. I have one other thing that is somewhat unrelated to this. By the way, here's my contact information. If you should have a question later on that you didn't feel like asking today, or you want to talk with me or someone else here on staff about your goal setting opportunities and how to go about it and get some of our thoughts on it, we're more than happy to talk to you. All you have to do is send an email, or you can certainly reach me at the telephone number that you see here. Happy to talk to you. I want to shift gears here for just a second and talk to you about another program that's going on at AAMFT, and this is our Minority Fellowship Program. As you know, we have a grant from SAMHSA to work with marriage and family therapists who are planning to serve in minority communities. The idea of this program is to expand, as you see on the screen, to expand the delivery of culturally competent mental health care and substance abuse services to underserved minority populations. We have a number of doctoral level MFT members who are part of this program. One of the things that's important to them is that they learn more about your division and to be engaged and a part of what's going on at the division. So what we want to do is encourage you, and we can help you identify who the marriage or the minority fellowship people are in your division. We want to encourage you to invite them to be a part of your division leadership, to look for ways to engage them with the division so that they not only have an understanding, of course, from their academic programs, but they also have a sense of what the real world is like for marriage and family therapists. So that's something we would like to do. Shamari Whitaker is our Minority Fellowship Manager here at AAMFT and would be happy to talk to you about that. Again, we can identify who the minority fellows are in your division and can certainly work with you and talk with you about ways to involve them in your division leadership, whether it be as a member of your board of directors, whether it be as one of your committees, whether it be in serving on an ad hoc kind of task force to accomplish something very specific and time limited. However you choose to do it is up to you. But this is such a wonderful resource for you that I would strongly encourage you to take advantage of it. Okay, we're actually quite short today. I've gone through everything I needed to go through, and I don't see any questions. So I am going to sign off here, and thank you again for giving us part of your Friday afternoon. Hope this has been useful to you. Please do give us a call anytime we can be of some help to you. And we will talk to you next month. So long.